All right, welcome back to another video with Atomic Token Games. My name is Jake Steppen, and today we're doing a review of Wyrmspan, or Wyrmspan, as my friend says. This is a game from Stonemaier Games. It's a Wingspan sequel game. The box says a Wingspan game, so if you've played Wingspan, a lot of this game will be similar to you, remind you of Wingspan. But the whole point of this game, the premise of this game, is basically you're trying to collect some dragons and have the coolest cave and be able to get victory points by visiting them and just having the best overall dragon experience. So the way play is set up, you'll have your player board, your tableau where you'll have your cards. And in here you'll be able to excavate some caves. So they have these lovely little mini cave cards that you'll add to your board. Once you've excavated a spot in your cave, then you can entice a dragon. And that's kind of the main point of the game. That's kind of the gist of it. On your turn, you have 3 available actions, which are excavate caves. So you're able to play one of these cave cards from your hand into your board. You're able to entice the dragons, which is basically play a dragon out of your hand right into the board. Or you're able to go exploring. So exploring is kind of where your engine building, or you get to use your tableau that you have set up, where you get to go into one of your caves. You have these 3 caves, the Crimson Cavern, Golden Grotto, and the Amethyst Abyss. And basically you're just going to take your little explorer and you're going to go visit all the dragons in that cave. And doing so can get you different things. It can earn you food, which you need to entice the dragons. You have to pay them food to bring them there. You can get dragon cards. You can get these cave cards. You can get a whole bunch of other things. And you can use that to help run your engine and build up your game plan. Now, along the way the game is set up, you'll have these coins that represent your actions each round. So each round you're given 6 of these coins. When you take an action like excavate a cave, you'll pay a coin. You get to do your action. One of the cool things about this game is they've set up ways for you to get extra coins. So sometimes excavating a cave, or visiting a dragon, or going around this dragon guild chart, which I haven't talked about yet, but we'll get to that. And so that can really change the dynamics of the game. You're able to kind of strategize and really work toward getting these extra actions. Now, in addition to that, they also have added to the cost of playing some of the dragons a coin. So this dragon here, for instance, this Mosaic Guardian, this dragon, to play it, costs a meat, a gold, an amethyst crystal, and a coin. So you actually lose an action for the round by playing it. So you have to really weigh the pros and cons about that. Now, in this game, you play it over 4 rounds. So each of these rounds, kind of at the start, you'll have 6 turns over 4 rounds each. Each round has its own objective. So some of these objectives include things like having eggs laid on your dragon. So this game has the classic Wingspan eggs that you can lay on your dragons. It has things like have some aggressive dragons. Each of the dragons have a kind of personality type, or have large dragons, or all these different things. So each round you can earn victory points by having the most of those things compared to the other players. And in this game, there's a little side game, a mini game, I guess, which is this Dragon Guild chart. So as you take actions and do different things, you visit your dragons, you play dragons, you excavate caves, you'll be able to move your tracker around this Dragon Guild chart. Doing so unlocks various resources. You get these one-time bonuses as you go across. But in addition, the real point of the Dragon build is this little guild card. Every time you reach the top and bottom spots on the guild track, you get to unlock a bonus or some bonus victory points. And so you can focus on this a lot and try to unlock things through the Dragon's Guild or not. It's kind of up to you. It's kind of a side quest that's also happening. And and that's it. That's pretty much the game. So you'll be over 4 rounds. You'll be taking your turns, paying these coins to build out your cave, collect resources by visiting your dragons, and of course, playing them. Now, what do I think about the game? Well, right off the bat, the biggest positive thing for me is just the artwork and theme of this game. It's beautiful. The dragon cards are all super unique, and kind of some of them are kind of goofy. Some of them are very elegant and smart, and so it's fun. There's been a couple times we've been playing and we've just kind of laughed at the dragons for a minute. The player boards are beautiful. The art for the cave cards are great. Um, but it fits in really well kind of thematically, right? So you're excavating these caves. You need a spot for your dragon to live. Once it's there, then you can try and lure a dragon in by, maybe this dragon likes meat or this dragon likes gold. And once it's there, then when you visit it, you can get cooler things like, yo, I went by this dragon and he gave me some stuff or whatever. So it's very thematic. You feel really cool. The Dragon Guild kind of fits in seamlessly, that you kind of feel like, oh yeah, as I'm taking these actions, I'm kind of gaining renown in the dragon world or whatever. And so you have this really well put together game. It's fun to play, right? You just feel really cool, like, yeah, I'm getting all these dragons. In addition, the complexity of this game isn't too bad. It is fairly complex. It takes 10, maybe 15 minutes to explain it to someone. If you've played Wingspan before, it's a pretty fast explanation. If you haven't, though, just fine. Even then, it doesn't take that long to explain, especially because there's only 3 actions you take, right? You can either build out your cave, play a dragon card from your hand by paying its cost with food, or you can go visit one of your cave and gain resources. So it's pretty simple as far as that goes, which is awesome. The strategy really comes from each dragon has its abilities, and you got to decide what to do. Which brings me to my next point. The strategy in this game is awesome, very deep. There's a lot of tracks you can go on, a lot of different things you can do to earn victory points, right? You could go for really expensive dragons. You can try and win the round goal at the end of each round, right? Have the most aggressive or the most eggs on your board or whatever. You can try to get a really nice engine running on your board where when I visit this cave, I get all these resources, and that helps me get victory points. It means I don't have to go to this cave or whatever. You can try to get all these different things. There's dragons that have end game scoring. You could try to get lots of actions, right? And just earn coins and get extra actions. And maybe they're not the best, but you're doing more than everyone, right? There's all these different strategies. So it really lets you kind of explore that more so than I think Wingspan does. Wingspan a little bit just kind of devolves into, hey, I'm going to just collect eggs because that's the most efficient thing. This game kind of gets around that, where there's not just one best way to earn points. And it's very replayable. This game has super high replayability. I don't know if you can see here, right? The game's got a whole fat stack of dragon cards. The round goals are different every game, so these are random and double-sided. The Dragon Guild is different. There's 4 of those, and so every time you play, there's kind of different bonuses. You're getting different dragons. The cave cards all have different effects when you play them. And so it's very replayable. Lots of stuff to do. And again, with that strategy stuff tied in, you can really kind of explore lots of things. Now, neutral things about this game, things that don't bother me but could bother some people. The biggest thing is just the dynamic rounds. This is true for a lot of games where you don't have a set number of turns. It can happen where, hey, I played a dragon that cost me one of my action coins, so I ended up taking less actions this round, but my friend over here got extra, so they're taking 3 more turns, and so I just kind of have to sit and wait for them to play out the round, right? And that can be kind of boring to say the least. Now it's not too bad in a in a 2-player game. It's not bad at all. When you're playing with higher player counts, 4 or 5, That's when it starts to get long waits. Now, that being said, the opposite is very true. When you have a round when you're like, man, I had 3 or 4 extra turns, you feel awesome, right? It's very rewarding in this game to get these extra coins. They're very rare, not very rare, but they're decently rare that you feel very accomplished to get it. It's very rewarding, right? You feel like you're really getting your bang for your buck as you're playing, right? So it's worth it to get it, and so it feels good, and so that's why for me it doesn't bother me too much. I don't mind waiting, um, but that is a factor, right? You do end up having to wait. Now the negatives of this game aren't really big for me, but I did feel like they're slight negatives, and the first thing is just the time that it takes to play. Um, This game says it takes 90 minutes to play on the box, uh, which I don't think we ever were that long. I think we were always longer playing with 3 or more people. I played with my wife, and we ended up playing in just over an hour. So 2 player, we're fast players, right? And so we know how to play. It went really quick. But we were playing with 4 people and with 5 people, and those games took 2 hours, almost 2.5 hours. So it definitely is a longer game. There's a lot more Euro game stuff in it, right? A lot more like, ooh, what's the most optimal thing and all this stuff. So there's definitely a little more time commitment for this game. The other thing is, and this was funny, because there's such high strategy, I've after playing even 4 or 5 times, I didn't really feel like I had nailed down the strategy, which is a good thing and a bad thing. I'm putting it here in the negative just because I felt like, hey, even after I'd played it, I was like, I still don't know what to do. Like, I didn't feel like, man, I figured something out and really, really nailed it, right? Like, I just decided to go for this and it worked out. Like, I lost, but I still had fun. For my first couple of games, probably 3 games or so, I finished and was like, I don't think I really did that well. And so that kind of, right, that just the depth of the strategy, it takes a while to get into it. So that was a negative for me. Although now after playing a couple more times, right, I'm starting to get the hang of it, trying to get some strategies down, and so it feels a lot better, right? That part doesn't really bug me, but it does take a little bit to get in, even having played Wingspan. um, so the big question is, right, is this game worth it over Wingspan? And it depends. I think if you have Wingspan and you love it, um, this game is similar enough that I don't know that you would necessarily need it. Right? I don't feel like you need it to fill out your collection. Um, but that being said, it's definitely different than Wingspan. They take out a lot of the variability. There's a lot more choice, right? As you explore, you get to choose which food you get every time. If you've played Wingspan, you know you have that super cool dice tower, but the food is kind of random, so sometimes you're kind of left like, I don't have the thing that I need. This game gets rid of that. That like, there's a lot more you deciding what you get. Um, there's some cool dragon cards. They have the hatchlings that once you've visited them 3 times, they kind of grow up or evolve, and they give you a bonus. And so there's some really cool stuff. It's definitely a different game from Wingspan. You can feel the similarities. The Dragon Guild, the little mini game that you're doing, trying to complete and get rewards, right? That feels different. So it's definitely its own game. It is, however, fairly similar. I think personally, I still prefer Wingspan over Wyrmspan, but I'm glad I have this game. Like, it's different enough that it's fun to play and do something different. It's kind of a step up strategically and kind of in the complexity over Wingspan. So it does definitely feel kind of a different niche, but the very same style of game. So for me, overall, I would give this game an 8.5 out of 10. It's a very good game, totally worth it. If you've never played Wingspan, it's still worth it, right? You can just start with this game. It's great. It's super cool. You get to collect dragons, which are definitely cooler than birds. So, everybody loves some dragons. Um, but yeah, so make sure, if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button down below. I've got more videos coming out. We're doing more reviews of games. And I appreciate all your help.